Hello everybody, this is Overwatch Cappuccino, and we are doing our second VOD review of, I totally forgot this guy's name, but of our Rhine hero over here, and I'm going to work on, similar to the previous VOD review, identifying 1 to 2 things that this hero can work on. And as always, before we start, we want to think about what's the main role of our hero that we have chosen, and what this hero can work on to accomplish that. And in this case, for Rhine, the main role of Rhine is to protect your teammates. Most of the time, you're protecting your teammates, putting your shield up, trying to make sure they don't take any damage while dealing damage to the other team, and occasionally trying to capitalize with your ultimate, or try to get a few swings in when possible. So yeah, so let's just kick this map off. You're defending, that's great. So here's already the first issue that I've pointed out, that I've seen happen multiple times in this game, is that you charge in way too often. Not only does charging in, if you miss your, I view charging as like a gamble, right? If you hit someone, great, you got them, and usually they're most likely dead. But if you miss, it's so much more worse. Your teammates are left out in the open. You're left out in the open behind enemy lines, and in general, it just sets you and your team for a bad position. But in this case, you're able to recover, which is great. So I'm just gonna jump real quick to the first area of feedback. I think you do a good job holding up your shield, protecting your teammates, trying to get that ult charge. As we can see, there's a Roadhog in the back, and when there's a Roadhog, you always want to be aware of where he is, and hopefully having your shield up when he's approaching. So we see him approaching around the corner here, right here. We see him approaching right here, and at this time you want to put up your shield, because you want to protect yourself and you also want to protect your teammates. And where's my play button? There you go. He ends up hooking you, and you try to charge in and you also die. So if you had your shield up, that situation probably wouldn't have happened. So let's move on to another segment. You eventually capture the point, which is great. Holding up your shield, great job. Just soaking in that damage, letting your teammates dish out the damage. And as you can see here, you almost have your ult, and this is the second point of improvement that I'll bring up. So the first point was charging, and this is the second point, ultimate usage. Okay, so now you have your ultimate, and let's see what happens. Okay, you use it right away. So here are my rules for when to use the Rhine ultimate. Everyone has their own, but these are the requirements that I usually go by before I decide to use my Rhine ult. I usually go by 3 things. Are there 2 to 3 people that I can, 2 to 3 enemy team members that I can stun with my ult? Are there teammates around me that can capitalize on my ult? And lastly, and this is an exception to the first 2 rules, is there a high priority target that I need to stun and ultimately, I guess, kill? And usually in that case, it's usually like a Mercy that has a res that you just need to take out of the picture, or maybe a nanoed soldier who's going to completely wipe out your team, so you just need to stun him. But in this case, you got 2. I mean, that's okay. It's not bad. They're kind of spread out, so you can't really swing your hammer. When I stun, I usually throw a fire strike. I throw a fire strike out, and then followed by swinging your hammer. walking towards them. So walking towards them, throwing your fire strike, and then swinging your hammer towards the people. The reason you usually don't charge is because sometimes it throws the other enemies out of the way, and it makes it difficult for your teammates to attack. In this case, you charge, which is actually a bad idea, and it goes back to the first point, which is stop charging so much. You open yourself up to the entire team over here. Your teammates can't. Technically, they could only attack this guy anyway, so I think this guy's gonna die. But anyway, you open yourself up to the entire team over here. So let's see what transpires because of that charge. You charge in, you get stunned, and you die. So pretty much you didn't capitalize. If you were going to charge someone, I would charge the Ariza, to be honest, but I wouldn't have charged at all. Anyways, nothing happened from that ult. You kind of wasted it, and honestly, Ryan, you're charging your ult, then most of the time you're shielding your teammates, and you're waiting for the moment when you can like unleash your ult on the entire team and just wipe them out. And although nothing really happened, I guess you wasted your ults. That ult could have helped you push back past this street phase, and yeah, that just makes it really difficult to get past this. You need your ults are more important than you think. And here is coming up is my next point of feedback. Roadhog is using his ult. I guess by reflex you just want to charge again, and it just throws you out there. I would try to hold my shield up. I guess you didn't really have that much shield to begin with. But okay, here's another one. Ariza has dropped her ultimate, and over here there's a Lucio, and I think there's one more guy back here. It's at this point you should just go back. I mean, Lucio and the other guy, they're probably gonna die. But that's just gonna happen. Or if they see you come back, you could possibly they'll come back because they see you going backwards. But instead, you become aggressive, and that causes them to become aggressive, and they just stick around longer than they need to. Like, you should just be back already. Like, there's no point. And then now Lucio ulted. They're gonna be really aggressive, pick you guys off, and stagger you, which is the worst thing. In this case, you got out, but your two teammates died. You know, as Ryan, you're kind of like the leader, right? Like, wherever you are, people will follow. And since you were up there trying to engage that ultimate, those two other guys were there too. I'd like to see you maybe use your voice comms as well and say like, "Hey guys, I'm backing up. I'm going back." Yeah. So you're shielding your teammates. Okay, we just heard a soldier ult right now, and remember, Ryan's main goal is to shield his teammates, right? Protect his teammates. Soldier has popped his ult. You have shield charge. You might as well try to protect your teammates as much as you can. But instead, problem number one, you try to charge in, get that lucky charge. You end up missing. 3 of your teammates die. 4 of your teammates die. And okay, I guess you could have possibly protected 3 of them during that time if you just ended up putting up your shield, not trying to go for the gamble charge. Most of the time, charges are a gamble, right? You just really don't want to do it unless you think you and your team can capitalize on it. For charges, I usually like to wait until maybe 1 or 2 of the enemy teams picked off, or the charge distance is really short. But that's for another lesson, probably. Okay, you just used your ult. You caught 2 to 3 people, which is okay, but you end up charging again, and you charged into the payload, which no one is there around there. And as we can see here, you opened yourself up to Roadhog, who will hook you. Do you win this fight? Yes, I believe you won this fight. So, honestly, as a Ryan, I think you could use a lot of improvement, and you guys won this match because, oh, spoiler alert, you guys won this match because your teammates did pretty well, but I think you as a Ryan could use a lot of improvement. Sorry if I'm being overcritical, but yeah, that I felt like you were lucky at a lot of the times that all your teammates didn't die because you charged in. Um, okay, this actually would be a good Earth Shatter. There's like 3 in a row. However, you just wait a little too long and you just get one guy and nothing really happens. Fortunately, your teammates are able to capitalize on that as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I just want to jump to the defensive phase just as a little bonus, just to point out one more point of feedback, and that is positioning on this map. Usually, the best spot to position, and again, it depends on your teammate. Oh, that wasn't good. Yeah, the best spot to position is right here. The reason you want it here is because if your shield gets low, you can quickly round the corner and protect yourself over here. If a lot of lower level Ryans like to be up here, but honestly, if your shield goes down or if they start being aggressive, you only have this little corner to hide, and honestly, it doesn't really save you, or you have to back up. But when you're backing up, you know, you make it very easy to target. They still have clear line of sight to you, right? So yeah, that's one of the things is positioning over there. Eventually, you know, just jumping to the end, you do win, which is great. Another random charge. Yeah, so eventually you do win, which is great. I thought your team is possibly just better than the other team. Again, I thought there's a lot of mistakes that I'm just wondering how they just did work regardless. But yeah, so hopefully that'll be useful to you, just to remind you. 1, try to tone down on your charges. I would say like maybe 25%, 75% less charges than you did during this match. And number 2 is ult usage, right? Try to catch more people in the ult, and you want to usually just throw a fire strike, swing your hammer a little, and then possibly charge at the end to capitalize on your ult. Okay? Alright, well, thank you for listening, and hopefully you find this helpful. Thanks, guys.